Who gets the number 25 spot on my list of the best albums of the decade? In order. Who do you think? Can you guess? Who's here right now? Y'all want to guess? Type it in chat. Oh, nobody's here right now to guess. Oh, that's a bummer. Okay, well, I'll just tell you guys then. How about I just tell you guys? Better yet, how about I just show you? Conway the Machine, From King to a God Deluxe, absolutely deserves this number 25 spot, which is a coveted spot on this list, if you didn't know that. King to a God. I like how God is all caps. Probably his most consistent album. Now, I know Conway, all the Griselda boys, they drop a lot of projects. You know, how does one keep up with so many projects? How does one rank so many projects with a dude, you know, that some could argue just sounds kind of similar on each project, which I would disagree with, but some might say that. Well, I'll tell you what, not every project has, you know, clearly some projects were worked on a little more, right? This is one of those ones that, like, he put the album time into this one, and it really comes through. I mean, this is like the Conway the Machine album. This shit is so, like, consistent. Like, there's not a skip on this thing, really. I mean, there may be for, like, maybe one couple get kind of repetitive or something, but, you know, it is solid as a rock, that project. All right, number 24. This one's exciting. JID, The Forever Story, extended version. This was on many people's year-end lists in 2022, and including mine. And now it has even made the 24th spot on my greatest albums of the decade list. This is a quintessential hip-hop project. I mean, Jid is a quintessential hip-hop artist, okay? That's undeniable, you know, at least at this point. And then this is like his debut album, right? I mean, not debut, quote unquote. Debut is like such a light term, but I don't know. This one's kind of like putting him on the map a bit more. This is him like kind of peeling away the J. Cole association. In a way. I'm talking like philosophically, spiritually. Okay. Number 23, Georgia Smith, Falling or Flying. Came out last year, R&B soul record. If you like Rihanna, you need to listen to this. If you like Beyonce, you need to listen to this. But really, like, the Rihanna comparison is like pretty accurate. She's like if Rihanna never went mainstream pop. More thought-provoking, more down-to-earth songwriting, but like an angelic voice like Rihanna, almost even more, so if you ask me. But yeah, just a gorgeous voice. Absolutely solid front to back. Number 22, Denzel Curry, Melt My Eyes, See Your Future, the extended edition. Specifically the extended edition because it tacks on this extra like disc, an extra entire disc of live versions of most of the songs on the original. So not only do you get studio versions, you also get live versions from this cold-blooded soul sessions that happened. So yeah, you gotta check out the deluxe edition of this album specifically. But yeah, Denzel is a creative force to be reckoned with, not to mention his talent for rap, like just like natural talent. Number 21 is Tana Talk 4 by Benny the Butcher. Tana Talk 3 by Benny the Butcher is one of my favorite hip-hop albums of all time, in like top 15 or top 20. And Tana Talk 4 is a fantastic follow-up. Now, not on the level as Tana Talk 3 for sure, not, but certainly a respectable follow-up. And beyond that, one of the better albums to come out this decade. Yeah, this thing gets better with time. This thing gets heavier and harder with every listen almost. Yeah, I mean, it is definitely worth your time. You guys see how this list is shaping up here so far? How do we feel? Do we agree? Do we disagree? Would you switch any of my placements around? Would you swap any of my placements with a different album that I haven't mentioned yet? Let me know, please. I'm curious. I want to know what you think. All right, number 20. This is a coveted spot as well. We are in the final stretch. We're in the home stretch, right? All right, moving on. Spot number 20 goes to Once Twice Melody by Beach House. This is another album that came out the year that my daughter was born, and I was listening to it heavy around the time that she was born. I have this album on vinyl, and I think I got it kind of because I was having like a deep connection with it when Vivian was born. Soft, peaceful, homey, intimate. These are all adjectives that describe this music. Once Twice Melody. Okay. Yeah. This is my introduction to Beach House, actually, and since then I've delved deeper into their discography. And this album, I like how it's broken up into 4 parts. So, you know, I've got like a section that I like. Some sections I like better than others, and I like that concept in a way. And then it's also, that's how I have the vinyl, so I only know this record as like a 4-piece record, 4 different sections. This is how it's sectioned up on the vinyl as well. So, it's a unique listening experience in that regard. At least more unique than most other albums. It's like listening to a bed of roses. Is what this album is like. All right, number 19. We're getting to the good stuff, people. We are getting into the good stuff. You are going to want to tune in. Number 19 goes to JPEG Mafia with his album Offline. Actually, originally titled LP. This is the offline version of his album LP, retitled to just Offline. I love how schizophrenic this album is. The different versions. Some songs are on streaming, some aren't. Now it is on streaming, but it's slightly different than it was before. Different album covers for each one of these different instances of it dropping. So it's come to the point that this album has like each one of these tracks has a different album cover. If you can see, a lot of they're like changing up here. And then I got like offline versions and OG mixes and online versions. I got versions that aren't even on streaming. But this is the version that I've come to have. I've ended up with this 20-song version. It's titled Offline, and this is what it is. Whatever this shit is, and all of that plays into the music. This album is all over the place. The music itself is so all over the place. This album is really cool. Just with taking all of that into account. So, JPEG gets a serious shout out here at spot number 19. All right, number 18. Oh yeah. Dude, I'm so happy. I'm so proud of this album. Heavy Heavy by Young Fathers. By proud, I mean, I'm just so happy that it has grown. I wasn't sure about this music. I liked a single or two. The singles, I was living with the singles for a little bit of time before the album dropped, and then the album dropped, and I kind of was like, for most of 2023, mostly all of 2023, it's like, okay, so how is this album stacking up? It sounds cool, but is it like good compared to other popular music? And after spending a year and a half with this album, or however long, something like that, it just keeps getting better with time, to the point that at one point in 2023, I wasn't even sure if it was going to make my year-end list of 2023. And now here we are, and it's number 18 on best albums of the decade. So that's what I mean by I'm proud of this album. Yeah, that's what I have to say about it. Number 17, let's move on. Check this one out. This is like very like African tribal vibes, like on a lot of these songs. Also like more like global music, if we're going to use that term, if that means anything to you. Global music and like African drums and stuff like that, drum circles and shit like that. All right, number 17. See, you can tell my excitement for these albums is getting higher and higher as we get closer to the top here, and there's a reason for that. It's because I ranked these albums, so my favorites are at the top. All right, number 17 is an album by a band that people that watch this channel probably aren't familiar with, but the band Flock of Dimes released their album Head of Roses in 2021, and it is definitely one of my favorite, how do I want to describe this music, alternative, like alt indie type of shit, soft indie type of shit. Flock of Dimes, Head of Roses. Yeah, if you like Caroline Polachek, maybe I would check this out. These songs are very sticky. Some of these songs are very sticky in a good way, in a great way. Like you won't want to part ways with this music. This music will stick to you, and you will stick to it. But mostly it will stick to you. All right. George Clanton, Ooh Rap Aya is my number 16 spot. This is one of the most uniquely mixed albums I have ever heard. The mixing engineer, or engineers of this project, they did this trick where the vocals are very low in the mix, very much turned down in the mix, which requires the listener to turn it up, which then envelops the listener in this, like these songs, it's a mixing trick. they turn the vocals down to make you turn up the rest of the song. So then all of the instrumentation has surrounded you. The instrumentation, just to get the vocals to a listenable level, you have to turn up the instrumentation to a point where it's completely enveloped you. It is a very interesting listening experience, this album here, Ooh Rap-I-Ya. But when you get it, and when it's the right type of moment and the right environment, this album is incredible, dude. It really is. And that mixing trick that they do, it's very much intentional, and it very much works. But it also makes this album kind of strange to listen to, like, in the car with friends. Because they're going to be like, what the fuck is wrong with this song? Like, I can't even hear the lyrics. But you got to boost that shit to the point where it's like, it's almost too much. You know, maybe you have to ride the fader when you listen to this album. Ride the fader means, like, you're turning the volume up and down constantly. Maybe, depending on the type of environment you're in. This album almost requires a special type of listen. Sit down, over your headphones, give it the time it deserves. I've Been Young is, like, if you like 90s, I want to call it, like, cloud rock. Almost even butt rock, but not as corny. If you like Phil Collins, you might like this. Let's continue on. Yeah, this is just such a cool album. It's just so cool. If you like shoegaze. All right, number 15. Here we are. Scaring the Hoes. JPEG Mafia and Danny Brown. They scared them. They scared them all away. Ow! I just smashed my tooth with this glass. Yeah, JPEG and Danny, they scared the hoes. But they made number 15 on the list, so worth it? Probably. This is everything JPEG and Danny did it for, to make the white internet dudes list. But hey, that's a pretty big deal if you ask me. Yeah, no, I mean, everything that they said about this project is true, unless they said it was ass. Then it's not true. It is kind of ass though. Even that is true. There are moments of this album that are just like purely just like kind of trash. The mixing is kind of trash on a lot of these songs, right? But I'm into that, dude. People will be like, oh, of course you are. You fucking like, you like anything. You eat it all up, won't you? No. That's not true. I'm not afraid to call out any of my favorite artists or celebrities if they put out trash. You know, I'm not afraid to call that out. These songs are catchy as shit. Ear candy, earworms. You know, undeniable. It's undeniable. And the fact that it was all just made on one of those fucking beat machines. I don't even know what they're called. Which explains like some of the mixing issues and whatnot. But very raw, very uncut. I very much so appreciate that. But also delivered as a very polished final project. It's like, it's so thrown together. They're so like messy and chaotic and seemingly so thrown together that it's like perfectly chaotic. Right? And that is no easy feat. So, you know, it deserves a lot of praise. And the music itself is super catchy and sticky and very much in its own lane, too. I mean, Scaring the Hoes is its own universe. Scaring the Hoes. It's like a whole universe that needs to be explored with merchandise and franchises. We need to franchise Scaring the Hoes. It changed the vernacular. Scaring the Hoes is cultural. And I just realized I wrote Scaring the House. Okay, moving on. Number 14. This is an exciting one, although I've got to say, I kind of overrated it. When I was making this list in my head, I kind of overrated it in my head. But that doesn't mean much because it still hits my number 14 spot. Pray for Haiti by Mac Homie. Again, another rapper very much in their own lane. Like, I don't know anybody else that raps even closely similar to Mac Homie. I don't know anybody else that can do what he does. He is just like this really cool talent of he like does this like fluttering. He like hovers. He'll hover so fast. He's like a hummingbird. Dude, that's what he is. His wings move so fast that you don't even see him moving so fast. They just look like one. Like they're moving so fast they don't even move. Dude, Mac Homie, when he raps, he's like a fucking hummingbird, dude. And I mean that with all the respect in the world. If you don't get it, I don't know how to explain it to you, but that's what he is, dude. It's a fucking hummingbird. And hummingbirds are super, super cool. Probably the coolest bird. Move like a butterfly, sting like a bee type shit. Yeah, check out Mac Homie. This one's executive produced by West Side Gun as well. So this is like kind of like a West Side Gun project in a way. It's a West Side Gun brainchild in a way. I mean these beats just like instantaneously like in my head as soon as I see this album cover. But yeah, if you don't know Mac Homie and you call yourself a hip hop head and you don't know Mac Homie, don't be that guy. More like Mock Homie, not Mac Homie. Mock Homie. All right, number 13. All right. This one's called Smiling with No Teeth by Genesis Owusu. This version I have pulled up here is the deluxe edition of this album is called Missing Molars, Smiling with No Teeth Deluxe. But I specifically want to shout out just the Smiling with No Teeth album, not the deluxe version. So let me pull that up. Deluxe version doesn't add anything good. Smiling with No Teeth by Genesis Owusu. If you like Gorillaz, this is like an Australian band, alternative band, but like with heavy rap influence, heavy hip hop influence, but also like it goes its own directions. Like it's not held down by any single genre. Very much so, moving by the beat of his own drum. Phenomenal songwriting as well. And the talent, it just boils down to the talent. The talent is just there. I mean, you're going to want to know about Genesis Owusu, kind of like the same way you wanted to know about Anderson .Paak, before everybody knew about him. Like there's certain artists that are like touchstones, cornerstones of their country or where they're from. This is like one of those guys for Australia. So yeah, Smiling with No Teeth, Genesis Owusu. All right, number 12, Radical Romantics by Fever Ray. If you like Billie Eilish, if you like Lorde, if you like Tori Wolf, if you like dark alternative pop, you're gonna have to check this out. Kind of melodramatic, but very powerful. Melodramatic yet powerful. And just more, again, and you'll notice this pattern with my favorite albums have ear candy. And who doesn't like ear candy, but like I'm listening for earworms. I'm listening for melodies that I can feel in my stomach. These top albums here all kind of deliver that in their own way. I'm also looking for consistency. I'm looking for concept. These are things that elevate an album to my top 15, my top 10, my top 15 spots here. And we're reaching that area. So yeah, number 12, Fever Ray, Radical Romantics. Okay, number 11. I'm doing this for you guys, by the way. I'm spending a lot of time on this. This is a long segment, and I spent a lot of time making this list. Okay, I'm going to chop this down, but I want to spread the music to y'all. I want to make sure this music gets the love it deserves. These are the albums I've been rocking with this decade. My best albums of the decade, ranked from number 72 to number 1 in the order that I like them. Again, this is not including music from 2024. Just music from 2020 through 2023. Let's continue. Number 11. So this is one I'm super excited about, this album, and it's been out, but I listened to it today, front to back. Church by Billy Woods. I mean, this album, when it first dropped, I've been rocking with it, like hardcore, but it keeps getting better. 2 years later, it's even better. Such a good experience. Yeah, Billy Woods, he has a lot of great music, but this has got to be like this one and his first collab with Kenny Segal. Hiding Places and Church are probably my two favorite Billy Woods albums. The dejected, creepy production all over Church, melancholic, and then again, the earworms. I mean, I've got one of the beats just running through my mind right now as I'm speaking about it. When I speak about these albums in my top 15, my top 20, really a lot of these albums on this list, when I speak about them, I can hear them in my head. Like they're instantly playing, as is Church by Billy Woods right now. Let me throw up I didn't even throw it up. Yeah, Church by Billy Woods. Like, dude, this is the type of shit, like just the beats on this album will make me cry. I mean, not actually, but they could. Like they just like, when the beat makes you feel something so emotional right off the bat, you're in for a heavy experience. And that's what I like. I like all sorts of things, but one thing that I like is a heavy listening experience. Thoughtful and heavy listening experience. All right, guys. So now we have made it. We have entered the top 10. The top 10, my favorite albums of the decade, ranked, not including 2024. My top 72 albums of the decade, ranked. In order, this is monumental, guys. Number 10. The number 10 spot goes to Cave World by Viagra Boys. Woo! Give it up for Viagra Boys. Woo! Pop punk reinvented with a hint of sarcasm and irony taken to a contemporary level unheard of up until this point. The social commentary on this album is really what takes it to the next level for me. It is so funny. It is so goddamn funny. The social commentary on this. I love it, dude. I love it. 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 I could say it 100 million times. And this is the only record like this on this list of mine, which is quite the shame, but this is a hip-hop channel, and I am a hip-hop head, and so that is my bias. But what an incredible band, dude. F me up, y'all. F me up. I wish I would have known about these guys sooner, but, it's already been 2 years. I've known about them for 2 years already, so it's been a minute at this point. Still, this album makes me laugh, dude. It's so funny, and it's almost refreshing. It's kind of a refreshing album, just because I don't get enough of this type of music. But I just don't. I think the issue is there's not much good music in this vein these days, and that's the problem. If there is, please send it my way. So yeah, number 10 spot, Viagra Boys, Cave World Deluxe. Number 9. Who do you think gets the spot? If you had to guess, who would you put at your number 9 spot on a list like this? Best albums of the decade ranked. I'll tell you who I put. His name, Travis Scott. The album, Utopia. I genuinely think this album is incredible. I'm not even, there easily could have been a reality where the Travis Scott album was, there actually is a higher chance that the Travis Scott album was disappointing. I'm going to be honest, I didn't expect it to be this good. And even as I was listening to it for the first time, I really enjoyed it. I remember the listening experience right at midnight. But I kind of had a feeling, a sneaking suspicion that it was going to age poorly with time. I remember thinking that. Like, I was into it at the moment, but I was kind of like, and I was publicly like talking about it. And I remember thinking like, hopefully this one doesn't age poorly. And I was kind of feeling like it could. But no, dude, this thing has only gotten better with time. The songs that I liked on it originally have only grown to sound even, just as fresh as they did last year. Almost even more fresh right now than they did last year. Yeah, these songs almost sound more fresh now than they did when they came out last year. And then the ones that I didn't like all too much last year are kind of like sleepers at this point. Like, I'll like run into one and be like, oh shit, like I didn't even really... this one's better than I realized, that kind of deal. And so like this album is growing on me still over a year later. The Travis Scott album, which I've always been a fan of Travis Scott, but I didn't expect him to keep this great of an output. This is better than Astroworld. Utopia is better than Astroworld. Okay. That's my hot take. Number 8. This list is getting exciting, y'all. It's getting exciting. I'm liking this. This is fun now. It's getting fun. And at number 8, my 8th favorite album of the decade, Alfredo by Freddie Gibbs and the Alchemist. Probably the most consistent album of the decade so far. Consistent as in like every single song is just as good as the one before it and after it. How's that for consistency? Every single beat, every single Freddie Gibbs verse is just as good as the one that comes before it and after it, and they're all really good. This album is in the spot because of consistency. 10 songs, each of them as good as the one before it and after it. Like, that is so hard to do and nearly impossible for even the greatest artists to do that. But the Alchemist and Freddie Gibbs did it. And then we got the title, Alfredo, by Alchemist and Freddie Gibbs. Dude, like, this album is genius from the front to back. The Alfredo, and then like the spaghetti is the white spaghetti Alfredo sauce. White Alchemist is white Alfredo sauce. And then you get, I'm talking about the album cover here, and then you get the puppeteer marionetting the pasta, like everything from the title to the album cover to the tracklist consistency to the features to the, yeah, dude, like, this is deserving, more than deserving of this number 8 spot on my list here. Okay, number 7. Who do we got? Who are we missing? Who have we not hit so far? Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers by Kendrick Lamar. Why would you put Kendrick at number 7? Is it because you just love Kendrick and no matter what he drops, you're gonna put him there? Hell no, dude. In fact, this album was much lower in my list until I went back and went through each album individually and listened to them and kind of reworked the track order. I mean, the list order. When I went back and re-listened to this album, it started to dawn on me how good it still is. And how good it has actually grown to be, dude. This album has gotten better with time. And, you expect nothing less than from Kendrick Lamar. But I still see people questioning the validity of this album, questioning if it's on the same level as his other outputs. And not only is it on the same level, it's almost on a different level. Because this is mature Kendrick. I mean, Kendrick's always been very mature for his age, but this is father Kendrick. This is like a different phase of Kendrick's life than what we have heard from him on all of his other albums. And so this is father Kendrick. All right. He's operating at a level that I don't even want to say. I don't want to sound corny or cringy. And Kendrick's got his own fucking QAnon at this point, but I'm sure everybody's had their ear talked off about why Kendrick's the GOAT at this point, and nobody wants to hear it anymore. But listen to this album. Go back. Listen to it front to back. Give it a fair shake. Pretend like it's your first time listening to it. Put it on, dude. This album is leagues ahead. Leagues. Light years ahead. A lot of the hip-hop, most of the hip-hop that people, that gets talked about. People like to clown on Kendrick. People like to clown on Kendrick's albums more specifically, and be like, yo, he makes music, but he doesn't make music you can just like throw on and listen to. That's cap. That's cope and cap. That's Drake fans coping and capping hard. Throw on Mr. Morale. It literally just proves them wrong. Instantly. So Kendrick Lamar originally did not land this high on this list. He was actually at about 20 or 25 until I listened to the music front to back, and I'm like, holy shit, it's so good. It's actually so good. It's so good. Yeah, so that's my feelings. Kendrick Lamar, greatest hip-hop artist of all time. Okay, number 6. Now, how does it get better? All that being said, how does it get better than that? Yo, he said all that good stuff about Kendrick. Then how does it get better than that? He's still got 6 fucking spots left. Assumingly some of those are hip hop. What's the step up above that? How does it get better than that? Well, I'll tell you one thing that'll make it better than that. The most thoroughly explored concept album, quite possibly that I've ever heard, but most definitely of this decade. Ajay by Kenny Segal and Serengeti. Now this is the third spot that Kenny Segal has made on this list. If you are not privy to Kenny Segal, let this be your sign to become privy to Kenny Segal. He's a producer. He doesn't rap. He's like a white guy. Like me. I'm pretty sure. Actually, I'm 100% sure. Now that I think about it, I know what he looks like. And so, so Kenny produced this. Serengeti is the rapper. Serengeti, somebody I don't know much about. But what I do know is he is so brilliant at creating these album concepts and characters and like committing to characters. He has this character called Kenny Dennis, and that's who is in this album cover here at the top left here. Completely fictionalized character, but the character is Serengeti dressed up with a big bushy mustache and this style of aviator glasses and a hat. And so he'll like dress up as Kenny Dennis, and he has like multiple Kenny Dennis albums where he's just like playing this character. And so that's one whole side to his discography. And I'm sure there's like a whole bunch more that I don't even know. And I'm still trying to decode the Kenny Dennis stuff. Kenny Dennis, he's like this old guy who's like into fashion and into like high-end luxury items and stuff. And he's got like all these special interests. And then he has like love interests, and there's like characters that come in and out across multiple albums. And it sounds like super heady and like how could anybody follow it? But it's so entertaining. It's so funny. Like this dude is funny and like witty, and like the character building that he does through rap music is unheard of, dude. And so this Ajay album is about this like Indian guy named Ajay who is so into high-end fashion and like hype beast fashion drops that it completely overtakes every single thought in his mind, and it like ruins his marriage. This is all happening in an album throughout multiple songs that sound so cool. People don't talk about this album, and that bothers me. Like, where is the love for Serengeti? Why don't people know about Serengeti? I don't even know Serengeti. I listened to this album because of Kenny Segal, and this was in 2020. This album has lived with me for the last 4 years, and I feel like nobody else knows who Serengeti is, and I feel like nobody else has actually even heard this album. There's so much to decode in this album. I could go on and on and on and on about it. Every time I listen to it, the story of the album becomes more clear. So if you're into things like Good Kid, Mad City, like figuring out this like storyline in an album with different characters and like listening to like figure out how the story actually plays through, like, you're gonna love Ajay just for that reason alone. And then the music is like the whole other thing to it. The Serengeti is so talented. He like raps as Ajay, and then he raps as Kenny Dennis, and then he raps, and like you know who he's rapping as kind of based on the voice, but it's not like that complex. It's not like there's tons of characters or anything, but it's really Ajay, and then there's Kenny Dennis, and he's rapping about certain things when he's Kenny Dennis and rapping about other certain things when he's Ajay, and then those two stories, they like cross paths with each other. And the first half is the Ajay story, and the second half is the Kenny Dennis story, and they cross paths and they become friends, Ajay and Kenny Dennis. And it's like, holy shit, dude, it's so cool. And then the whole like high fashion tie-in and the Hypebeast brands tie-in, it's so hip-hop. It's so out there. Like, this dude's mind, he literally wrote a movie. Like, you could take all this and write like a full movie script. It's all here. So yeah. And I don't even know who Serengeti is, really. I don't. I think he's from Chicago. Okay. Top five, no Toronto. I'm gonna have to start saying that. All right, are we ready for the number 5 spot? The number 5 spot is Going, Going, Gone by Hemlock Springs. This album, almost just an EP, but we're going to call it an album, is going to be, mark my words, one of the most influential and important pop projects of the first half of the decade. Now, I know that's a huge statement, but go listen to it. Dude, this shit is like bringing the greatest songwriting, the greatest melody structuring to pop music that I think I can safely say I have ever fucking heard. Literally the best pop music I have ever heard. And I like to make big statements, oh yeah, he likes to make big statements, but I'm not fucking kidding you guys. Anyone, this song right here, Anyone and Girlfriend are two of the greatest pop songs I have ever heard. Okay. As far as like bubbly pop music, circa turn of the century, millennial core pop music, this is the highest of high bars for this type of music. I can't overstate it. This thing is so damn special, dude. It's that freaking good, right? And that's why it's my number 5 spot. I mean, I do not F around with the music here, guys. Most of this list is like, okay, cool, whatever, cool, whatever. But like these top 10 albums are like shit that I couldn't, my future, everything hangs on these albums here, y'all. Everything I'm building in my mind and on the internet, it's fed by this music here. So, and there's also music from last decade that does the same. But this is what's currently happening, right? And I'm a current kind of guy. So that's what I find to be the most potent. Right, all right, we're so close, my friends. All right, coming down to the top foe. Top foe. Now, I'm going to have to be honest here, you guys. We've done a lot of talking on this channel about a lot of different people, and I've had a lot of opinions about a lot of different people. All right? But do those opinions affect the way that I listen to my music? A lot of people have that question. Just because he did that, or she did that, or said that, I'm going to still listen to their music. I'm not going to listen to their music. People have strong opinions on that. Well, I'll tell you what, my friends. I'm not a bullshitter, okay? I have no issue giving credit where it's due. So my number 2 spot, it goes to Kanye. Donda Deluxe, the 4th best album of the decade so far, in my opinion. We couldn't have asked for something as we're blessed to get this. I'm honestly shocked that this fucking came out in the form that it did. I don't know if we'll ever get something like this from Kanye again. Hopefully we do. I hope that he digs himself out of this mess that he's in mentally. He completely, and I've got videos on this. You guys can go watch if you're interested. But he fought his demons and lost and gave in to everything. So for those reasons, I don't think we'll ever get a project like this again. But maybe this is Donda working through Kanye, like Donda, his mom, working through Kanye in a way. I don't know how to explain this. As you can see, I'm kind of lost for words. Like, how does he sandwich this in between Jesus is King and Donda 2? Or how does he sandwich this between Jesus is King and Vultures? I don't know. Like, what the fuck happened here? Donda is almost a fluke in my mind. Like, because it's so good in the midst of this weird ass time of Kanye's life where everything else is horrible from Kanye. And but somehow, some way, before he pushed me away as a fan with the Nazi shit, somehow he timed it where he released this incredible album right before his personal career 9/11 happened. So like somehow he snuck in this fucking album to the number 4 spot of the decade. And I thank God for it, because this album is incredible. As far as the music that I am going to enjoy, and before Kanye was corrupted in my mind, at least we got Donda, which I do own this album on vinyl. It is a phenomenal album. The features on it really kind of take it to that level. Otherwise, this album would have suffered a lot. So thank goodness for all the features. But still, Kanye fucking like he put in some fucking work. This is like, I'm not gonna sit here and pretend I know how this album was made or the circumstances that Kanye made this album in, but I feel like he likes to challenge himself to push himself to make these projects, but I feel like he actually like sat down and like gave this one the time and the space and the resources and the time and the space and the resources to like get a real project fleshed out. And it's messy and it's all over the place and it's got like double tracks on it. You know, it's all over the place, but it's like, it's a beautiful mess, and it's a huge mess, dude. It's huge. It's 2 hours long. Like, wow, man. So very generous of Kanye, and so for that he gets the number 4 spot with Donda Deluxe, which also, side note, has one of the greatest hip hop songs of all time on it, Life of the Party, featuring Andre 3000. So that's definitely a lot of points in his favor there, or some extra points in his favor. It gets extra points. All right, number 3. What could it be? Who haven't I talked about yet? Number 3 spot. Who could it be? Any guesses? I give it to my boy Skrillex with his album Quest for Fire, a dubstep album at the number 3 spot in 2024. Which the album came out in 2023. Who would have fucking thought? That was not on my bingo card at the top of the decade. But Skrillex reinvented himself in a way. Reinvented his sound, at least. Freshened up everything. And then released the best engineered album of the decade. Handedly. Easily the best engineered album of the decade. The sounds on this, dude. The audio engineering, I'm an audio engineer. I'm an audio snob in a way. I'm a appreciator of audio quality. Let's just put it that way. And the fucking mixing and mastering on this shit, it's immaculate, dude. The mixing on this is immaculate. All right, so get this. I posed this to Fantano on one of his live streams. I donated like $10 and I said, you gave Quest for Fire a 7, but you didn't comment at all on the audio engineering, which I think is immaculate and takes it to the next level. And so like I said that, and he responded to my super chat. It was like one of the coolest moments ever. First and only time I ever interacted with Anthony Fantano. And he said he would never suck an album's dick for good audio engineering because that should be the standard anyways. Which, you know, I'd not given a chance to respond to that because he's talking live. I disagree. This is my chance to respond to Fantano to that point. Mr. Boldman, Mr. Best Teeth in the game. Okay, I disagree. You know, don't suck an album's dick just because it has good audio engineering. But there is a point where there are mixes that are better than others. Like there's engineering that is better than others. When engineering is a cut above the rest, that absolutely deserves to have his dick sucked. Just like when a musician is a cut above the rest, you suck their dick because we love them. And so you should do that with your audio engineers too. Okay? They deserve that love too. Mr. Fantano, just saying. You probably don't remember that at all. Why would you? You answer thousands of questions every year. So this was my album of the year last year. It got the number 1 spot for, you know, in my mind, for albums of the year of 2023. Number 3 spot for the whole decade. All right, you guys. We're down to the last 2. There's 2 albums that I haven't fucking talked about yet. 2 big ones. You know, these are 2 big ones. These aren't like, this is like a weird one. No. These are big deals. Okay, these 2 albums. So what haven't I talked about yet? What is my number 2 spot, you guys? Any guesses? It goes to a guy we know all too well at this point, Mr. Westside Gunn, with Hitler Wears Hermes 8, Sincerely Adolf, and Side B. Both of them. This is a double disc album. 2 albums. 2 sides, 1 album. Is that cheating? No, absolutely not. This is a double disc album. We have multiple double discs on here. This one just happens to be split up into 2 individual albums, but they're both Hitler Wears Hermes 8. So together, we have Hitler Wears Hermes 8 Sincerely Adolf, which is side A, and side B, which is just titled side B. But Sincerely Adolf, Sincerely is like side, S-I, Sincerely, S-I, side, S-I, side, S-I, and then A, side A, and then Sincerely Adolf. You get it? That's side A. Side A is the Sincerely Adolf side. And then side B is just titled side B. So I will give a obligatory fuck Hitler right here and all that. But fantastic project. Huge, really just a defining moment for Westside Gunn. When people ask me about Westside Gunn, this is the album I'm going to give them, or show them, or refer them to. This is like no bullshit. Sometimes Westside has like really like lazy beats. Sometimes it's like really like simple loops but no, production on this shit is taken all the way there. It's all the way there. It's the features on this thing. Everything about it is just phenomenal. I mean, these are like new ideas in hip hop that are going to be passed down for years and years and years and years. This style that Westside Gunn has cultivated and helped curate and has presented here on the Hitler Wears Hermes 8 side, Sincerely Adolf, and side B. This is like the quintessential, there's a lot of these Griselda projects, a lot of Westside Gunn projects. We have 3 on this list alone, but this is the one. It's great because really it's kind of like 2. But so much Westside Gunn, so much Griselda, what do I listen to? There's too much choice paralysis. Don't worry about it. We got you covered here according to recordings. Hitler Wears Hermes 8. Side A and side B. Start there. That's your starting spot. For any of you guys out there wanting to get into Griselda or this is a fantastic starting spot. If you don't like this, you can just bow out there. And if you do like this, there's a lot more where that came from. All right. This is the last spot. We've actually made it. The number 1 spot. All right. How should I do this? The number 1 spot, you guys. This is quite the freaking journey we have done here tonight together. This segment was a long time in the making. This segment was the most work I put into any segment on this show so far. And it's probably going to get me about 50 views. But that's okay. I did this for me. And I did it for that one TikToker who requested I do it. And so when I post it on TikTok, you can be sure I'm going to tag his ass in it and be like, bro, you better give me a fucking like. Because I just put in way too much time on this. But this is fun. Look at this list, you guys. This is a fun list here. I like this list a lot. This is a list that captures moments in time. This is a list that, tries to cut out recency bias as much as possible. This is a list that is slightly biased towards hip hop. But yeah, I choose these albums at the end of each year. So it's like a snapshot of each year, which is like, I think that's a good methodology for creating a list like this. So anyways, I'm stalling here. It's not done. Guys, the list isn't done. What's the number 1 spot? Caroline Polachek. Desire, I Want to Turn Into You. Ever-Saking Edition. If you watched the Pitchfork albums list review that I did a couple weeks ago, you already knew the answer to my number 1 spot because I talked about it then. This album has lived with me and anybody else who's a fan of Caroline Polachek for like this entire decade. Each year this decade, literally even up to 2024, this album has given something new. Starting in 2020, the song Bunny as a Writer came out. She was dropping singles for this album 3 years in advance. All right, so Bunny as a Writer came out, and then 2021, I think, something else came out from it. 2022, I think Sunset came out in 22, maybe, So she's dropping, Blood and Butter came out, so these were singles dropping between 2020 and 2022. Album comes out, and it's fucking incredible, like, front to back. She does this, like, throat thing where she changes the pitch instantaneously. So she does, like, an auto-tune effect, just, like, naturally. So her singing style is kind of, like, out of this country. We'll just say that. It's not out of this world, but it's out of this country. And she's just like a mystic force. I don't know. Like there's something really special about, like very spiritual about her music. And she's coming from like a very mystical realm. And that sounds cheesy, corny or whatever. But like that's just, it is what it is, dude. I don't know where she gets this shit from. I don't even know if she's American, to be honest. So yeah, like everything... Anything not from America is like foreign and crazy and wild and crazy to Americans, right? No, I'm pretty... She is American. I'm just kidding. All I'm trying to say is this shit sounds fucking crazy, dude. And maybe it's just my American fucking ears. Maybe if I was in Europe, it wouldn't be as... sound as fucking mystical and magic. But from where I'm at, like nothing else out there in contemporary music is doing what she does. She is... I don't know, you guys. You got to go listen to it for yourself. That's all I got to say about it. I mean, I don't know. I genuinely, no other album this decade so far has made an impact on me, made an impression on me, stuck with me for so long. Oh yeah, I didn't even finish so yeah, she dropped the album in 2023. And then in 2024, she drops the deluxe version of the album with more songs. So yeah, this shit's been with me 2020 through 2024. So what is she gonna drop? Desire I Want to Turn Into You, whatever. 2? She gonna drop Desire I Want to Turn Into You 2 next year or something? At this rate, she probably will. You know, is this album gonna keep delivering for the next 10 years? I don't know what to expect at this point. So yeah, I mean, it doesn't get much better than that for me. I mean, it literally doesn't, because I just ranked my favorite albums. So that's it. What do we think, you guys and girls and theys and thems? This is it. This is what they all look like together in one pile, one list, right? I'm in love with my list, you guys. I think it is perfect. I really do. I listen to this shit all the time. I throw this Projects of the Decade playlist on shuffle and it feeds my soul. And then we will do the top albums of 2024 list. We will do that at the end of the year or at the beginning of next year. So stay tuned for that if you enjoyed this type of shit. I've done an episode like that, or I've done a segment like similar to this in the past, and it got like hardly any views. So I expect this to get hardly any views because not everybody cares about... People don't really care about other people's opinions. But I wanted to do this. I'm going to post this shit on everywhere, and the people on TikTok will like it. And that's why I did it, really.